So I watched Lights Out about a week ago, and I've been kind of sitting on the movie, and I wanted to talk about what went wrong with the movie. I don't necessarily think this is a shitty movie. I just think that this is a good concept that kind of missed the mark and could have been so much better than it actually was. Now, before I get into that, I just want to let you guys know I did see It Comes at Night. Yes, this is the name of it. It Comes at Night. I did watch that, but I was gonna actually make a video kind of talking about how poorly it was marketed and all this other stuff. Then I saw Chris Stuckman's video, and that's basically all I was gonna say. So just watch that video if you kind of want to know my thoughts. They're pretty in line with that. So, I mean, that was the last movie that I saw in theaters, and, I watched Lights Out. Like, it's still relatively new, and, a good amount of my friends ended up liking it. I didn't like it, though. I didn't really like it that much at all. I mean, it wasn't a shitty movie, but it was pretty much it was an average movie. The problem is that it was a typical Hollywood horror movie. And I mean, like, I kind of know what type of moviegoers my friends are, and it doesn't necessarily shock me that they like the movie. Honestly, it makes sense for them, and it's the same reason why that they didn't like It Comes at Night, because, oh, you couldn't see, there wasn't a monster, you didn't see the monster. They're those types of people, as far as when it comes to movies. So, I mean, it doesn't shock me they like this. Going back to what I said about how this is kind of just a typical Hollywood horror movie, there really wasn't any risks taken, and they pretty much just played it safe throughout the whole movie, if you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Let me just start from the beginning. The concept to this movie is fucking great. For those of you who don't know, this film was based off of the short film of the same name. You can look that up on YouTube. Personally, I thought the short film is phenomenally better than the theatrical version. It's like, I think 5 minutes, but I think it really portrays this idea of fear much better. They roughly did the same scene in the theatrical version, and it didn't really work too well. There's actually a video that explains kind of how it didn't work too well. If I can find that, I'll link it in the description. But basically, the short film did a really good job of showing fear and just inciting fear into the viewer, while the movie kind of missed that mark a little bit. But not even that, some of the choices that the feature-length movie kind of screwed it at the end. It could have worked as a full-length movie. Again, it's an interesting concept, but they kind of mishandled the direction of where everything was going. I think, number one of the biggest issues I had is they explain way too much about whatever this creature is that can only be seen in the dark. They basically give this thing an entire backstory. That, for me, kind of starts to break a character. One of the best things about the original Halloween, you don't know why Michael Myers is doing what he's doing. The same kind of issue is kind of like with the short film. You don't know why this thing's doing it. There's no explanation. There's no rules. You don't know what this thing can and cannot do. But this movie kind of breaks it down for you as like, this is why this character is like this, or this creature. This is why this creature is like this. This is why this creature is doing the things that it's doing. This is the attachment it has to the main character. It basically, there's a whole exposition dump about what this thing is, and it really hurts the film by doing that, because now you know everything that this thing can do, so now you're thinking, well, all right, now these characters should be doing this, and maybe that's what the characters do, and it really hinders the experience, because it gives way too much away. One of the best things, I think, that can create fear is the fear of the unknown. If you didn't know all this stuff, you probably would be a bit more freaked out about this creature, or maybe you just anything that jumps out and goes boo scares you. That happens a couple times. Maybe you fucking love this movie. I don't know. But I think the other reason that this movie kind of failed a little bit is the characters. And it's not really how the characters act. They're kind of smarter characters, especially for a horror movie. You see a lot of dumb decisions. One of the biggest things I thought is, all right, they introduced a boyfriend character. All right, he's gonna be disposable. And he wasn't disposable. He actually lived to the end, and he kind of did a smart thing and called the cops when he had the chance. I didn't expect that, and I'm glad that the movie did that. See, this is what I'm saying. There's good stuff in this movie that I think they did well, but there's also shit like the mother character, which I think it was an interesting character, but they completely mishandled her, and they kind of just used her as a way to try to grab feels from the audience that it didn't impact me at all. One of the things that I feel like this movie did wrong is they focused on the daughter, Rebecca, and her boyfriend and her little brother, when they really should have focused more on the mother character. Because the mother is the one who has this attachment with whatever this creature is. I forget the name of it. I guess it's like her sister or something, or a friend that she had when she was younger that had some weird something was wrong with her skin. They did some treatment on her. I don't know, and it gets to the realm of I don't think that anything could happen like that at the same time. This creature only shows up at the dark. I understand that, but I'm saying the logics of this world, that there would actually be human technology to do that. I really hope I explained that well. I'm going off on a tangent, but what I'm trying to say is that throughout this movie, you get, glimpses of the mother, you learn about her, but for the most of the time when she's on the screen, you kind of see her as the bad guy. One scene I think of particularly is when she's sitting in her house with her son, and she turns off all the lights, and he's scared to fucking death. He doesn't know. He thinks he's gonna get fucking killed by this creature, and she's sitting there saying, "Oh no, this will be great." What blah blah whatever the fuck the scene that she started saying, and you're sitting there like, you don't really like her that much. You're kind of like, wow, that's a dick move. Why the fuck would you do something like that? And the issue is the movie doesn't give you enough time to really get attached to her, so that at the end when she sacrifices herself to save her kids, you kind of just are like, oh, all right. I guess so. A scene like that should be insanely impactful. The main characters, their mother just committed suicide to save them. That right there on paper sounds gut-wrenching. If they had just tooled it so that, you focus on this family dynamic, and they're all together throughout the whole movie, and this thing is just giving them a beating psychologically throughout the whole movie, then maybe that ending could have been so much more impactful, rather than just like, yeah, she killed herself to save her kids. Good for you. But no, this movie just decides to focus on the kids of this woman who's going through this, psychological distress with this thing that's attached itself to her. It kind of failed in that part. And also, some of the decisions that some of these characters, like I said, they're relatively smart characters, especially for a horror movie, but some of the decisions, you're kind of sitting there like, are you just doing this to move the plot forward, or are they just doing this because they need to extend the runtime for this movie? I think a prime example I can use to back this up is the first night when Rebecca's in her bed. It's the scene that you guys probably have seen from the trailer, where like that light from like her apartment room is like kind of shining on, and then when it goes away, you can see this little creature. And the thing is after that experience, you would assume that maybe you're not going to spend the night at that house for a bit. Excuse me, I just burped. But maybe you wouldn't go back to that place that a demon just picked you up and dropped you on the fucking floor. Maybe you would go somewhere else. That's just a thought, right? But no, she goes back. It's her boyfriend, and her brother. And guess who's there? This thing. Are you shocked? Because I wasn't shocked. I figured that would happen. It's like, after that first night, which honestly, that scene was done really well. That was probably one of the better scenes in the entire movie. Like I said, this movie's kind of half and half. It's a mixed bag. But then they go back, and then you're like, all right, well, something's gonna happen. And something happens, and you're just like, all right, why would you go back if you knew something was going on? I mean, they didn't go super extreme like how in Insidious they literally sold their house and bought a new one because they thought a demon was possessed to the house, which is a smart idea, but it's like you bought a brand new house and then you just bought another house. How much fucking money do you have? Because it just happens like overnight. They didn't do that, which would have been another stupid decision, but maybe go to a hotel for the night. Maybe if that scene that had happened the second time they were at their own apartment happened in a hotel, that probably would have been much more hard-hitting, because now it's like this thing is following you rather than, oh, it's kind of just attached to these couple areas. I'm just saying, something like that would have worked better. I mean, all in all, look, there's some really great scenes in this movie. Again, it's a great concept, but there's a lot of lackluster scenes. There's a lot of just, like, shit where you're like, I don't know why you're doing this. And then again, with the whole ending with the mother, you just don't really care that she killed herself at the end. Which that you should fucking care about that. All in all, like I said, this is like an average movie. I give it like a 5 out of 10 maybe. But I'm not really here to review it. I'm more here to say like this is the type of shit that went wrong with this movie. It could have been just fleshed out a bit more if they had focused on maybe this entire family and the pain and the suffering that they're going through because of this thing, just psychologically, and maybe even turned it into a little bit of a psychological horror, not even knowing if this thing is real or not, or maybe if it's playing tricks on their mind, kind of like the way that Oculus worked with that concept. Which I'm not saying that specific concept could have worked, but it's just an idea. And yes, I know that they did bring up stuff about how, like, I guess the father, you know, stuff was going on with that, and even that could have been focused on more. That could have been a whole movie itself, but no, they went with this, and I don't know. I just think it was a little bit mishandled. It could have been handled so much better, but overall, it's your average horror movie. It's not something that I'd say I wouldn't recommend. There's just better horror movies out there, and I mean, if you've already seen a lot and you're interested in seeing it, I wouldn't say, hey, don't watch it, because there's some good shit in it. But at the same time, it's not one that I would say, hey, you should watch this over, say, Don't Breathe or It Follows. There's just better movies than this one out there. That's basically what I'm saying. Anyways, if you saw the movie, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you disagree with everything I said? Do you think this is the scariest movie you've ever seen? I would have to say you've been watching some really petty shit if this is the scariest movie you've ever seen, because there's some freaky ass fucking movies you can watch out there. You want one that will fuck you up? Watch the original Martyrs. That movie's fucking brutal. Anyways, that's about it. Like the video. If you hated it, like the video. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. If you don't know already, I have a second channel. That's where I do other stuff. It's not movie related, but, you know, go ahead and check that out as well. That's about it. If you want to subscribe to this channel, do whatever. If you have any movies that you want me to talk about, feel free to leave that in the comments. I'd be definitely down to maybe see whatever it is that you have in mind. That's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys all in another video. So later. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.